Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Kareem. And you know what? When I was a kid, I stopped pretending to. Gather round, boys and girls. Gather round, ladies and gentlemen. Gather round, people of all ages. For we're about to tell you stories that will mesmerize, that will spellbind, that will mesmerize, that will spectacularize, that will something else realize. These are stories that are mysterious, that are strange, that are phantasmical. These are stories of the paranormal. These are jinn stories. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Kareem, and today we'll be telling you guys jinn stories. Now this story took place when I was a boy, when I was a wee lad, when I was in boarding school. Now I was sent to boarding school. It was 250 miles from my home. Even if I wanted to run away from there, I couldn't. And you know what? I did not have fun times. There was a bunch of weird things that happened, and including one of my other stories about something shadowy and something else that tried to strangle me. But this story wasn't just witnessed by me. No, it was witnessed by countless others. You see, in my boarding school, we had this story that was passed around of this grey lady, a shadowy apparition. And this shadowy apparition would move around the school, and multiple people seen it. I, although, have never seen it, but I have heard something. You see, there's a reason that I never pretend to be sick anymore. You see, the first time I was there, I was in boarding school. It was my first term, which is equivalent to the first semester in North America. And it was my first term, and I was studying hard, and you know what? I was like, stop this, I need a break. And there were some kids that were sick, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be sick. So I pretended to be sick, and the lady, the head of staff, because there's head of day staff during the school and there's head of night staff at night. She was the wife of head of staff at night, and she just looked at me and she was like, it's not sick. But she had that kind of smile and she's like, okay. So she sends me off to the sick ward. And the sick ward is located at the top of the school. Remember, this is built on the equivalent of a mansion. Technically we call them halls, but in North America you would call them a mansion. And so this was the top of a mansion with the highest point in the mansion. And there was these 3 other sick kids there. So I got in the bed, and we just chatted with these sick kids. And the sick kids told me of something strange that they would experience. And I was like, nothing strange. So I was sitting there, everything was fine, we were just chatting, having fun. And then, the next day, the kids were fine. So they went. And I said to the woman, no, I'm fine, I can go. She's like, no, you're staying there. So I stayed in this sick ward with nothing but 2 comic books to read and look out of a window. Now in this sick room, you've got to imagine that this sick room is kind of small. It's just got 4 single beds in it, and there's a little shelf, a little cabinet with some comic books, and you see outside there's just greenery for miles with the occasional tree. And outside, just an empty hallway. And at the end of the hallway on one side is a huge spiral stair which leads down to the main level. So I was sitting there in this bedroom thinking, damn, I'm bored. With this, remember, this was before cell phones, we didn't have games, Game Boys. In fact, this was like just at the era of Game Boys. So I'm sitting there bored out of my skull. So I grab the comic book, start reading. And it's late at night, the sun's just setting, it's dark out. So I'm reading this comic book, bored out of my mind, and then I hear it. There's a sound of something dragging. It's like somebody has a great leather bag and they're dragging it across the floor. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And then, every now and then you'd hear, and then there's a thump, and then thump, and you're like, what the hell is that? And then thump, and it's always like that. It drags and then thump. So I'm like, at first I'm scared. I'm like, because remember, I was only 10 years old at the time. But I pluck up my fear and I'm like, okay, maybe it's one of the staff come to see me. So I put my hover my legs off the side of the bed and just as I put my foot on the ground, it stops. I'm like, how does it know? I'm not making that much noise, but the moment I have my foot on the ground, the noise stops. I went out, there's nothing in the hallway. So, a few years later, I become sick again. And this time I'm genuinely sick. And I'm like, damn. I go up to that sick ward, and of course, every time I was sick, there's no one in the sick ward. So I'm in the sick ward, sitting there bored, the same old comic books, and I'm like, it's gonna happen again, it's gonna happen again. And of course it happens. This time it's 10 o'clock at night. And normally we would have the night staff come and turn off the lights and tell us when it's time to turn them off. But since the night staff, they didn't bother with the sick ward. They didn't like going up there. So they didn't generally go up there. So it happened again. I heard the and I was thinking, oh God, it's happening. So every time I was sick, I'd put my legs over the edge and I'd stop and I'd wait. And then I'd put my feet down, and the moment my feet touched the ground, it'd stop. Now this happened every time it happened, and I asked others and I had similar experiences. And I always did experiments with this where I'd wait, and then the moment I put my foot down, it would stop. Mostly it happened at night. I think once or twice it happened when I was there during the day. So, why is this strange noise happening? Why is this strange occurrence happening? Well, you see, the jinne, they know that the moment your feet hit the ground, you're a danger to them. They like to scare you. They like to make you believe in the paranormal. They want you to think that ghosts and fairies and aliens are real. But really it is them. They are just trying to screw with your head. Really it is them. They are just trying to mess with your head. I urge you Muslims, I urge you the Ummah of Islam, do not believe the jinne. They will try to trick you. They will try to fool you. But it is just a ploy for them. It is just a game that they play. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not fear the jinn. They are not worth fearing. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and come. Remember the goodness and remember, come to goodness. Come to goodness.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.